Hello, my name is Amanda. I'm a knitter and I want to talk about everything that I made this year in 2021. I had a little dream of starting a YouTube account to talk more about my knitting, and I thought I could start off the channel by talking about everything I made in this last year. I've known how to knit since I was in the 5th grade, but I've never knit a garment until last December. So I've grown a lot this year, and I think this is a really cool way to document everything that I've made, everything that I've learned, and I'm just really excited to talk about it. I watched a lot of what I made in a year last year for 2020, and I just kept thinking, wow, I really want to make one of those videos in 2021. So without further ado, here's everything I made in 2021. So back in early 2021, I really didn't know where to start looking for knitting patterns. So I started on Etsy. I really wasn't into knitting Instagram or even YouTube that much. I was just kind of starting to dabble into the knitting internet world. So I looked at Etsy, which probably wouldn't be the first place I would look for patterns. Ravelry, I feel like, is a lot easier place to search. Instagram gives a lot of good inspo, but I looked on Etsy and I found this really cool shop that has a lot of good patterns for beginners, and it's called Madison on Etsy. There are 4 of her patterns in this video, and that's because they're really beginner friendly, and I was basically a garment beginner. I knew how to knit, purl, bind off, cast on. That was basically it. I don't even think I knew how to decrease coming into this year. So this is the first thing I ever made, and this is the Charlie sweater by Madison Marie. It's made with Lion brand wool ease, and I think this is the fig colorway. I have a lot of feelings about this sweater. I really just feel so sentimental about it because, of course, it's the first garment I ever made, and I think it just got me started on this whole journey. But I honestly don't really wear it that much, I think, because of the yarn that it's made of. I don't know if I'm just a sweaty person, but chunky knits to me feel a little suffocating, and I learned that after making this. This is constructed by making 2 panels and then decreasing at the neck and then making 2 sleeves, and then you seam it up all together. I was really nervous for some reason that the sleeves are going to be too short, and the sleeves are actually really, really long for that reason because I knit more, and I really probably should have just trusted the pattern. But overall, I feel very sentimental towards this sweater, even though maybe I don't get the most wear out of it. There's definitely some construction errors, but there's always those in your first sweater. So not my favorite, not the worst, and she holds a really sentimental piece of my heart. And I don't think I'll ever do a panel sweater like this again, unless it's like a cardigan. Okay, the next sweater I made was by the same designer, the Madison Marie Etsy store. And this is the Bailey sweater. This is also knit with Lion brand wool ease, just the regular weight. I think this is worsted weight. And the last sweater was the thick and quick. So this sweater I think is like 70% acrylic and 30% wool. And this sweater, I really like the drape. It's not really much when you hold it in your hands, but when you wear it, it has this nice tunic feel. The drop shoulder is really nice. And I like the details on the cuff and the bottom. That's just the purled edge. I kind of like that unfinished look. I like how you can see the knit stitches on the inside. If I would change anything, I probably would add a I-cord trim to the collar because it just looks a little unfinished to me. And I definitely have some construction errors. Something about splitting a V-neck seems super elusive to me. I really struggled with that part, and I think I still knit this on completely straight wood needles. So I have some, I think, twisted stitches on the right chest side, but other than that, I definitely get a lot more wear out of this sweater than the one before, I think just because of the weight. I think this would be a cool pattern to try in maybe like a loftier yarn. Overall, I really like the color. It's super versatile, and again, it's like one of the second things I made, so it just felt so exciting to make these really early sweaters, and I'm happy with it. If I would do it again, I'd probably pick a different yarn. I'm not a huge fan of the woolies thick and quick, but I know it's a favorite for a lot of people, so take that with a grain of salt. Overall, it was a really cheap make. It was like 30 bucks, maybe 20 bucks with a coupon around there, so really easy make. This is also constructed in panels, so you do the front, back, and you do the seam it all up. Do the sleeve, seam it all up. And the seaming, that was really exhausting. That was like the most exhausting part. So you'll see me get into circular knitting a little bit into the year. The next thing that I made this year was a series of hats, and this is one that's for me, and I gave the rest to my friends. This was a sheep and stitch pattern, and they have it, I think, on their YouTube channel and also on their blog, and it's a free pattern using the Woolies Thick and Quick. This is an example where I actually really like the use of this yarn. I think it's great for these kind of like more like accessories. I feel like it's super like cozy and comfy, but maybe a little too heavy for a sweater. But I think that's just my preference. But either way, I really like these double pom-pom hats. I just think they're so cute. This one's a little short. I think maybe I should block it and I can get a little stretch out of it. I add 2 pom-poms to it, and now all my friends have 2 pom-pom hats and we all match in different colors. So I think it's really fun. It's been a really like easy and cheap gift to give to friends like through the year for their birthdays, or just kind of like a just because gift. I think I gave one to my friends for like passing the bar this year. So really easy gift and just so flippin' cute. What more is there to say? So there's the chunky hat. Now kind of marks the time of the year where I started making a lot of tank tops and more summery clothes, and I really enjoyed this kind of knitting because it's really quick, because you just have a little less to knit. You don't have long sleeves to knit or big chunky bodies to knit. And I live in Washington, D.C. I don't know if I already said that. It gets so hot here in the summer. So having some really kind of cute, lightweight knit shirts that I made myself was such an essential for me this summer. I wear them all the time, and I just love them. So the first one that I made was the Venice Wrap Tank by Gorilla Knits. And my birthday was in March, and so I decided to splurge on some hand-dyed merino wool. I ventured out from Craft Store Yarn, and this is from the store Kraeo. It's Kraeo. I think they're based in Chicago. And I can put the details of what this colorway is called in the description. Again, not much when you're holding it up, but this is so beautifully constructed, and the color is just like gorgeous. I think this makes this top look really expensive and something that you might have to pay a lot of money for. So I really like that. I really just love how versatile this top is. I feel super sexy and attractive when I wear it, and I feel like that's a really fun thing to be able to knit. I think knitting sometimes can have a connotation that it's either like ugly sweaters or itchy, or you know, like your grandma does it, but as anyone who is part of like the online knitting community, you know that that's not what knitting has to be. And I think this shirt really showed me that for the first time. So I just love this pattern. It was really well written. I think it came in a lot of sizes. I think I knit the size small in this one. And yeah, it's not knit in the round, it's seamed in panels. You do the side panels, the back, and then you do the I-cord ties, which were like the longest part. But overall, I love this pattern. I loved making this tank top. I think this is one of my top like 3 favorites of the year. If I had to rank them, I'm just so in love with this, and I can't wait to wear this for so many more seasons to come. So the next thing that I made were the Jessie Maed Ripple Bralette and Butt Shorts. And if you want to talk about things that like are sexy, these are hot. Like hot girls wear Jessie Maed Ripple Bralettes and Butt Shorts. I love her patterns. I'm a Jessie Maed fangirl. I think everything that she does is beautiful, and her patterns are size inclusive. They're on a sliding scale payment, and they're also super adaptable and adjustable. So these were a really great first pattern to kind of do something a little bit more challenging. I did a lot of new techniques, knitting mostly the shorts and the bralette too. But the shorts were a lot of increases, there's a provisional cast on, and there were German short rows. And then everything is knit in this super stretchy rib, and it has a lot of give. If I had to do anything differently, I probably would have knit the shorts a size bigger, and they are just a little tight because of that's how they're supposed to fit. Like they're supposed to have negative ease. The ease thing I still don't really get, and if you get it, that's amazing. Not me. And yeah, they're very stretchy. So I wear the bralette more, but the shorts I still like. I think I would knit something by her that's more like flowy. I know she has like the flutter shorts in top. If I were to maybe want to make a pair of knit shorts again, I would go for those. And I just thought how cool to make a bottom, to knit a bottom. I just didn't even consider that a possibility when I started my knitting journey. So as you can tell, I could rant and rave about these two patterns all day, but I will spare you and just highly recommend Jessie Maed patterns, especially the ripple bralette and butt shorts. Okay, we're starting to get some direct sunlight, but I'm gonna persevere and keep going. We just had a snowstorm and now it's sunny because of course it is. But the next thing that I made, these two are kind of a pair to me because they're just made with the same yarn. I ended up kind of over ordering this Weird Knitters Pima cotton, which is Gorgina. I think it's so pretty. And this is from the Madison Marie Etsy shop. This is the Evelyn tank. I did kind of highly modify this pattern at this point. I made the V-neck deeper and the straps longer. I was still really on the kind of like hot girl summer kick. And the straps, I will admit, they're a little too big. And as we know, yarn only stretches out as you wear it. But since the back and the front are the same, I kind of either wear this frontwards or backwards, depending on how much color I want, because I guess however the yarn was kind of situated, you get a lot less color variation in the beginning, and then in the back, which was like the end of the ball, you got a lot more. Okay, love this. It's such a basic. I wear it a lot. I think it's really unique. I think it makes me look like if tie-dye girl from The Parent Trap grew up, I think she would wear this. Okay, so next thing that I made with this Weird Knitters Pima cotton is this halter top, which again, it looks like nothing when it's on my body, but this halter top, and this was actually based off of a Well Loved Knits video, and I love her videos. I love that YouTube channel. And she made it with, I think, a black cotton, and I thought, how fun would it be to use up the rest of this yarn? And it was great because this doesn't really have a back. You just make these gathers on the side. And so again, a hot girl summer top. And again, it's super freaking hot here in DC. So this is just like a perfect top for the summer, for the beach. I kind of made this towards the end of the summer, so I can't wait to wear this more this year. I just love this top. It's definitely one of my favorites. I just love this yarn. I think it's really, really unique, and the cotton is really soft as well. This is the Evelyn. Okay, so in one clip, I say that this is the Ella. This is the Evelyn. This is the Ella from Madison Marie. This is the Evelyn. Okay, are we clear? Capiche? We're ready to keep going. All right, so this is the Evelyn tank top from Madison Marie. A very simple design, but this was probably one of my most worn tank tops from this summer. It is a really kind of fun green color. This is Hobbii yarn, the rainbow cotton, and I was really nervous playing with this kind of color because I was unsure of if I would wear it. I don't really wear this color green, but now I do because I made a shirt in it and I wear this all the time, and all my friends could contest to that. So this is a really simple construction. This took me like a week to make. You knit the panels, sew up the armpits, and the seaming's not too bad when you only have like this much of it to do. It's super simple. And then you pick up stitches at the neck and you do this kind of purl stitch high neck collar stockinette stitch, but you see the pearls on the other side. Love this. It's a classic. I want to make more of these because it's just such a like integral part of my wardrobe. I think if I ever had to go back into an office, how nice would it be to have these like cotton tanks that you could wear under a cardigan in like neutral colors. I really never want to have to go back into the office, but I had that in the back of my mind. Until then, I will continue making really bright, fun colored crop tops that I don't have to wear in a work setting. I know this video is called Everything That I Made, Everything That I Knit in 2021. It could technically be everything I made in 2021 because I did crochet exactly one project. Actually two. I did a bandana. I gave it to my friend. So I, for some reason, just saw all the crochet girlies on TikTok and I was like, I want to be a crochet girly. I want to diversify my, you know, my crafting. I want to learn a new skill. Let's try it out. So this was actually something I designed myself. I took rough inspiration from a TikToker who made a granny square tank top, but hers looked a little bit different from mine. And because I didn't want to like buy a lot of yarn that I wasn't going to use, I just bought the Yarnspirations acrylic from Michaels, which is great. But I don't know if you've ever tried to wear an acrylic yarn crop top in like 90-degree weather and 80% humidity. It's not great. It's not great. Wasn't a great idea. Should have just got a cheap cotton yarn instead of a cheap acrylic yarn. But here we are, and I made a bunch of these daisy granny squares, which some of them, the ones in the back are like actually horrendous. Like some of them are inside out, some of them I attached the wrong way, some of them have like 4 petals instead of 6. It's really big. You can see I didn't even weave in the ends because once I finished seaming all of this, I was like, I'm done. And I don't think I've ever actually worn this. So it was fun to design something myself. But I think because of what it's made of, and honestly, I'm not happy with how the squares look. I don't ever wear this. So, and it's also not my style. It was a great lesson in making something just because I thought it was cute doesn't mean I'm actually going to wear it. Does that make sense? It really wasn't a thoughtful contribution to my wardrobe, and that's a big lesson that I think I learned this year, was making things that I know I would wear over and over again. And this is something to me that's just like a little more trendy. And I saw someone on TikTok make it and she looked really cute in it. And I was like, I'd look really cute in that. Kind of neglecting to think that, honestly, I kind of look like a little girl wearing this in like a weird way. And this is not hate to anyone who wears these kinds of shirts. It's just not my style, and that's okay. And things cannot be our style and they can still be really cute. Like I still think it's adorable. It's not me. So if anyone wants this, just let me know. It's not fantastic, but I made it, so that's cool. Like anyone who has tried to like attain a new skill and was immediately bad at it and was not immediately good, I went back to what I knew, which was knitting. And I think this was one of the last summer things that I made, and this is the Magnetic Force Tank by Not Your Grandma's Knits. And this is made with Lion brand True Blue yarn. And that yarn is made of bamboo. It's a nylon made of bamboo. And it doesn't have the best wear to it. Like I already think this tank top looks kind of worn, and I've worn it a few times, like maybe 3 or 4 times. Ugh. It wasn't my favorite yarn. Actually, it was my least favorite yarn to work with. But the finished tank is like beautiful. Like the construction and design is kind of ingenious. And you just work this from the top up, the bottom up. You work from the bottom up, and then you work this front panel flat. You do German short rows. Maybe I'm not good at doing German short rows, or I've only done them once, but I feel like you can see every increase in this yarn. And then as I was doing the short rows, the yarn just started breaking, and I kept pulling the yarn, and it would just be empty. And I think I have like 6 or 7 joins right at the top of this tank top. So the ending was a little stressful. I am happy with the finished product. I think there's no hate to the design of it, because before you block this, you're like, this doesn't look like the tank top, and you block it, and it's like gorgeous, but it's not my favorite, if that makes any sense. I think I should have knit it in a size bigger. That was kind of also a pattern for me this year. My body definitely changed, and I don't know if anyone can relate to that, when your body changes a little bit and then, but like your brain maybe hasn't caught up and you're like, oh, it doesn't fit me anymore. Like I'm definitely a different size. So always great to measure yourself, and I never do gauge swatches, but like do gauge swatches if you must. I'm a naughty knitter that way. Very naughty. So that's the Not Your Grandma's Knits magnetic force tank. I have a mixed relationship with this one. We're almost done, and I realized that I've only talked about things that I've knit for myself, and so I just want to take a quick interlude to talk about a few gifts that I made this year. So other than the hats, I made a few baby projects, which I'm not a mother, but I know some mothers. And specifically I have a family friend, and she has 4 beautiful children. And this summer she had just birthed a baby. She just had her youngest daughter, is how a normal person would say that. And so me and my parents were going down to visit them. I made the kids hats with this really cool, I think it was Big Little Yarn Co. hand-dyed wool. And part of me is like, why did I buy hand-dyed wool for little like children? But I was really happy with how they came out. So I kind of balled out for no reason. Like I could have just bought craft store yarn, but I really wanted to do kind of like a fun unisex pattern for all of them because it's 2 boys, 2 girls. And I was really happy with that. And then that same friend had a friend who was also having a baby, and she wanted to try to buy a monogrammed or a embroidered baby cardigan from this Instagram shop. And apparently they're really hard to get your paws on. And so she really tried to buy from this creator, but she couldn't in time for the birth of her child's baby. And so she asked me to recreate this for her. So this was definitely like me recreating a pattern. Obviously try to support creators when you can. This was just kind of a case where she tried to buy the original and it's just such limited stock she couldn't get her hands on one. So I made a free Ravelry pattern baby cardigan, and I actually did my first ever cables, which made me comfortable with cables, which was cool. And then I tried my hand at embroidery, which I don't think God gave me that gift. It took me almost as long to embroider the sweater as it did to knit it. But overall, it ended up being really, really, really cute. So I'll insert some pictures. And yeah, so those took up some time in between my bigger projects, but I was just not expecting to be knitting for babies this year. It's like so freaking cute. Like if you have a baby in your life, or your neighbor has a baby, someone at your job has, just knit your baby knit a baby something. Knit a baby something. That's what I learned this year. It's just so freaking cute. It may not be the most practical thing, but I think it's also a really cool keepsake once the baby grows out of it. But I don't really know. I'm not a mom, so maybe it's not a cool keepsake. I'm not sure. We finished summer knits and moving into things for the winter that I made closer to the end of the year. And that is starting with this sweater that I made with a Bellish pattern. And this, I actually made this with a partnership with Bellish on my TikTok page, which was really cool. It's my first time ever doing any kind of sponsored content. I have a little bit of a following on TikTok, and I just started posting knitting content. I didn't really have like my followers from making knitting content, but yeah, it was just a cool opportunity, and Bellish was a really cool company to work with. And I'm not sponsored to talk about them in this video, but it's an app that you make your own knitting patterns. And so the premise of the video was taking inspiration from Gilmore Girls, which is one of my all-time favorite shows. The fashion's iconic if you watch it and you're a fan. And this is the sweater that I came up with. I wanted to make something kind of textured, chunky, and light, kind of based off like the fisherman sweater that Rory wears in season 1. But I didn't want to do cabling. And I made this with Drops Snow. And it's 100% wool, and it's affordable. And I overbought, and I spent like $60 on it. So as far as 100% chunky wool goes for a sweater, super affordable. However, it does pill, and it's itchy. It's like itchy AF. So I don't think I'd recommend that yarn to someone. However, I really love this sweater. I'm really happy with how it came out. It has this basket weave pattern and regular arms. I did add like extra stitches in the arms, and you can kind of tell because like the armpit kind of has like this gobbler here, like this little that I don't need for my arms, but and the decrease is really aggressive in the arm, and the neck opening is a little wide, so I had to play around with the collar a few times. I made it short, and then it was kind of like I looked Victorian. I made a lot of little lad videos on TikTok because that was popular at the time, and I looked like a little lad, and if you know, you know. Okay, so that is my Gilmore Girls Bellish sweater. I really like it. It's not my favorite, I think, just because of how it feels when I wear it. So that's kind of a bummer, but that's what happens when you try to like buy things on the internet without having seen any reviews of them. I would recommend researching your yarns a little bit heavier if you can't touch them when you buy them. Okay, so this is, I think, my final finished object from 2021, other than a few Christmas gifts. So, wow, this went by fast. This was a really fun journey. And I call this my funky chunky scarf. And I had a lot of leftover scrap Woolies Thick and Quick, which I made all those hats from this year for my friends. And then I also had a lot of the Drop Snow left over from that Gilmore Girls sweater that I just showed you. So I made a scarf. I got to stash bust a little bit, which was liberating. It was super fun. And I did this color mixing method inspired by the Knit Edit. And I actually have not made one of their patterns, but I purchased one of them. And then I realized it's kind of intended to be made with scrap yarn. And I was like, do I want to buy all this yarn to like make something that's a scrappy project, or just like keep this pattern and hold on to it? I kept the pattern and hold on to it, and I was also just so curious how they did the color mixing. So I did that technique. I'm not going to explain it to you because like that's her whole brand. But I did a color mixing technique inspired by the Knit Edit. I held everything double, as you can see. So I made this on 15mm needles that I actually bought on accident because I needed to buy size 15 needles, and I was shipping them from like a European website, and yep, we bought the 15. Let me just show you. They're huge. But this was a really fun way to do chunky knitting without having to knit a chunky sweater. And I don't want to hate on chunky sweaters. I'm just sweaty. Maybe I'm just sweaty. Maybe it doesn't get that cold here in DC. I can't do it. And maybe I just haven't met a chunky sweater I like. Anyway, great chunky knit, super fun. And yeah, that's it. That's what I made this year. So, thank you so much for watching this video. Wait, I'm gonna do a proper outro, just 1 second. Okay, so that's, I think, everything that I made this year. I did have a few Christmas gifts that I don't really have footage of. I made a chunky twisted headband, and I made a sweater or a scarf inspired by a Let's Get Knit Faced video. I love Let's Get Knit Faced's videos. I love her YouTube channel. I made her bauble scarf for a friend. So yeah, that's everything I made this year. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. Hopefully I will be posting more knitting and crafting content here this year. And you can find me on Instagram at Knits by Mandy. You can like and subscribe. Do I say that now because I'm making a YouTube video? My TikTok is at Amanda Jag. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a happy knitting year. Okay, hi, it's me again. I just finished filming, and I've never filmed a YouTube video before. I'm exhausted, and I'm not even done. And I did this on my phone too. Like, do people do that? Anyway, me in the Roku City, my Barbie tree.